Hi everyone, welcome back to The Shelves Have Eyes. I'm Phantom, and today we will be continuing with Tarn Tuesdays. And this, the Transformers Legacy United Prime Universe Cliffjumper versus Beast Wars Universe Tarantulas, G1 Universe Squeezeplay, and Cyberverse Universe Tarn. This is the, I believe, canonically third version of Tarn that they have made, third figure, rather, that they have made with this mold, because I believe in the interim from the original comic universe Tarn figure, they repainted him and remolded him into IDW comic universe Bludgeon, which is a figure that I do not have yet. But in keeping with Tarn Tuesdays, here's another Tarn figure. So let's open this one up and take a look at the differences that they have made in this new mold, shall we? Okay, looking at the box, this is standard Legacy United packaging. This was a Target exclusive 4-pack, much like the Age of the Primes Target exclusive 4-pack that they came out with after this, that had G1 Universe Ultra Magnus, the new mold of the G1 Optimus toy. And crucially, that second box set came with Horrible. And I did not pick it up, and I really regret that. But out of all the figures in that second set, I really only wanted Horrible. So maybe I'll just find Horrible somewhere. Looking at this, we have very nice faux CG paintings of all of the characters. Prime Universe Cliffjumper is the only Autobot in this set. The rest are Decepticons. We have a repaint of Tarantulas in toy-accurate colors. A Headmaster Squeezeplay. I don't know why this... I mean, I'm not going to argue about it, and I'm not going to complain, because I really am happy that we're getting more updates of G1 Headmaster characters that were not in Titan's Return, Power of the Primes, Combiner Wars. So I'm very happy about that. And then Cyberverse Universe Tarn. Now, I never really got into Cyberverse. I never really watched the show. From what I understand, it does some very interesting things. But Tarn does show up in it. And apparently in the show, he shows up with one arm. One arm. So this is not technically a good representation of the character as he appeared in Cyberverse, because this Tarn figure has both of his arms. So the bottom just continues the 3D rendering of Tarn here. And on the top, you get little headshots of the toys as they appear in the box. Side has the Legacy United mural, which features Magmatron in the center. And then on the back, we have just nice toy renderings of all of the characters and how many steps it takes to transform. Squeezeplay is mistransformed. So how about we open this up and take a look at the figures. Put that away for right now. So we have the instructions and a little, warning disclaimer. So it seems like they have combined the instructions for all the figures into one enormous booklet, instead of having individual instruction booklets for each figure. So looking at the figures themselves, they look very nice. Cyberverse Tarn crucially comes with the sword attachment that they had given Bludgeon, the Bludgeon version of this particular mold. All right, this is pretty standard. Accessories are in the back here. So let's cut away all of this and take a look at the figures. I don't think I've ever seen figures that were so secure. All right, so let's just open up the package of accessories, and we'll just take a look at what comes in at first before I take the figures out of the pack.
Butterfingers?
And of course, I don't even know what dropped. So we have these two attachments that come with tarantulas, the hooks that go into Cliffjumper's hand attachment, another hook, and one of the blasters for Squeezeplay. I'm going to assume that one of these blasters fell down. Nope, looks like a piece to Cliffjumper. It's a smoky color. There it is. There it is. Wow, that's a lot of pieces of plastic there. There's another tie underneath, holding together his antenna. So here are the figures freed from their cardboard prison. We will start with Cliffjumper, which, looking at him, he looks like a very good representation of the character. It's difficult to actually call him a character, considering he really only existed for maybe, what, a minute and a half in the beginning of the very first episode before getting chopped in two, and then reappeared as a zombie later on in that 2 episodes later, or an episode later. He does come with all of these weird attachments for weapons that he never showed in the show, so there's definitely that. He's got this weird gripper attachment that I don't remember him using in the show. He has 5mm pegs on either side of his arms so that you can put these pieces that I also don't really remember. I mean, this looks like a horn. So yeah. I'm trying to remember, did they do a Cliffjumper figure in the original Transformers Prime line? Because if so, that was a much bigger figure than this. Just because I have a lot of Transformers Prime Deluxe class figures, and they're excellent figures, but I feel like they're larger than this. I mean, maybe Cliffjumper seemed larger in the show. It doesn't matter. It's a minor issue. Articulation-wise, he's very nice. Looking at the figure itself, it actually is very nice. There's very little dead space on the figure that you can see. His torso is notably hollow, and so he's not a terribly heavy figure, but all of his panels do come together in a very nice way. He's got standard joints for his elbows, along with a bicep turn. His arm has kind of a universal, thanks to additional hinges. He does have a waist swivel. He does have ankle tilts, which actually, I've got a problem with these because they kind of make him need to stand bow-legged all the time. Because if you put them up close, it doesn't look quite right with his feet flat. Like the figure was designed to be bow-legged and to be in action pose, so. But all told, he's very poseable, as you would expect a modern figure to be. He does have very nice ankle tilts. Yep, I remember that from the Throttlebots. The Battle Chargers, that kind of loose lower leg part. But it looks nice. He looks nice. Head tilt. He's got an enormous neck. Jumbo Jehoshaphat. These wings on the back of him kind of make posing his arms difficult, but beyond that, he's a pretty solid figure. Pretty solid figure indeed. So let us transform him, shall we? So, yes, this is actually a very nice transformation. This was very complex. I liked it a lot. Everything folded very well. I actually really like the transformation of the figure. I don't really particularly care for Cliffjumper as a character, but I think that this is actually a really neat transformation. Really, really it is. I'm very impressed with the engineering of it. It reminded me very much of the kind of switcheroo that they did with Brawn, where the sides of his car, his truck mode, collapsed in to make his legs, his lower legs. This was very much similar to that. I really enjoyed that. That was a really nice transformation. It was intuitive. I looked at it and I knew where things went. And then it was still a surprise when we got there. There are some issues here. These huge gaps where his hips are. The underside is totally hollow, but that doesn't really matter. All in all, it's a very nice representation of the character as he appeared in the show. And it's a very nice transformation in general. It would be very interesting to see them apply this type of transformation to a Viacon, because the Viacon car was like the best figure from the Transformers Prime line. Bar none. Excellent engineering, sleek look in car mode, infinitely posable in robot mode. It was a delight. This is likewise a delight. I just wish I liked the character more. So we're going to go in order of as they appeared in the package. So the next one up is Tarantulas. Tarantulas is a personal favorite character of mine from Beast Wars, voiced by the great Alec Willows. I remember having this Tarantulas figure back when the line first began. I bought the Ultimate Battle, not Ultimate Battle, but the 2-pack that had Bat Optimus and Alligator Megatron, as well as, Razor Claw and your typical characters from that particular beginning wave. And I remember buying Tarantulas, and I remember then seeing him on the show and saying, what is this? This doesn't look like Tarantulas. Obviously, this is a repaint of War for Cybertron Kingdom Tarantulas with a hybrid. Oh no, this isn't the hybrid. This is just his original toy face. His original toy face that does not look like the animation model. They give him these two attachments, one of which is his grappling hook gun, which was nice because that's what he used in the show. And then they also give you this buzzsaw, which is what he used as a transmetal version of the character, which is really where he gets a lot more fun and interesting. In all, it retains all of the hallmarks of a modern Beast Wars figure. It looks sleek. I actually did not put them in the correct posts. There actually are 5mm posts welded in to the mold. I just didn't put the guns there. I will say that I kind of find the legs to be a little bit of an issue. But we'll just tuck those behind there and be done with it. I had the exact same issue with the original toy too. In fact, if I remember correctly, I would take his legs off whenever I played with the figure because they just got in the way. All told, these are very nice. They're on a ball joint hinge, so they're a little bit more posable than they were in the original toy. All in all, I like his proportions. He looks very nice. He's very posable. He can do a full turn there, but I mean, I think that's because that's how he transforms. All told, he feels very nice. He feels sturdy. He doesn't feel loose or floppy. And in all is a very nice representation of the character as he appeared in the toy. Beast Wars characters are very good posers. So, yes, Tarantulas is a very good figure too. I'm not sure about the repaint. I mean, I get needing to include some figures, and if they're all kind of just repaints, that kind of makes more sense from a a profit standpoint. And it's not like these molds, they're doing anything else with these molds nowadays. Kingdom is over. Siege is over. War for Cybertron is over. We've already moved on to Legacy. And then further on to Age of the Primes. I do like the fact that he's got kind of shifting shoulders. So he can do that pose that he always did where he would squat and lift his head up and then rear his hands back and scream. So that's kind of nice. I have the original version of this figure. I don't know where it is right now, but I do have him. Let's transform him and see what he looks like in spider mode. All right, so that was a lot more involved than I initially thought it was going to be, but this is a mite sight better than the original Tarantulas transformation. The original toy transformation, not the other Tarantulas Kingdom version of the figure. All told, it looks like a spider. The legs are okay. They're not fantastic, but I mean the mouth rather is not great. It's okay. It's okay. I do like how everything collapses. It was just a little bit more involved than I remembered or think that it really needed to be. But at the same time, it's an animal. So it's hard to hide parts of an animal. So all told, Tarantulas is also a pass for me. This is really good, actually. It's better than I remembered it being. I still don't like the legs. So here we have G1 Universe Decepticon Squeezeplay. He does have ankle tilts. This really is the return of Titan's return, Power of the Primes. He's got a wobbly neck. The figure is not fantastic. It's way too thin in places. It doesn't really look sturdy. It feels pretty heavy, but it doesn't really look sturdy. He's got faux tech spec readout there. And it does come with, obviously, his pieces that allow him to transform into Squeezeplay. Which some assembly required. Truncheon shield, which apparently I'm an idiot, goes on a piercing shield he can wear on his arm. And a singular gun. All told, I mean, it's pretty nice. It reminds me of worse figures in the line, however. It's not really a great figure. I mean, his lack of thighs and his minuscule waist make him look absolutely ridiculous. Mainly because I feel like the body should have been larger because his head is so big. Oh, yeah. No. All right, so let's just look. Fairly standard. I forgot that they don't have the same thing that the original Headmasters have, where you could flip down like the panel face, so that he didn't just have a face for his back. And I mean, these Headmasters are tiny compared to the originals, so I'm not going to ask a lot of it in terms of articulation. But it has minor, basic articulation. There is absolutely no face to this. He's just wearing a helmet. And just be careful when you take his head off and on, because it can just tear out that head. Binary bonded partner is Locos, which I don't think I ever owned Squeezeplay. I don't think I ever owned the original version of the figure. Oh, that's so much worse. This is not a good figure. This is not a good figure. I already have tremendous issues with it, beyond the fact that it is a throwaway from Titan's Return, Combiner Wars, Power of the Primes era. This, I had put his head on wrong because I had assumed that when you transformed him upside down and these became his arms, his head would be, you know, the opposite way. But instead, you plug a little clip underneath his chin into his back, and he just has this enormous empty backpack here, which does him no favors in robot mode at all. I was really excited about this Squeezeplay figure, and it's easily, at the moment, the least exciting, worst figure, in my opinion, of this set so far. He's got your typical articulation you would find, standard joints to make the bicep curl, but that's part of the transformation. Very tight. These are rubbing against each other very tightly. Once again, I mentioned the absolutely tiny waist. Yeah, his head. So there you go. It's not the best figure. Now that I have it in my hands, I'm not particularly excited by it. So let's transform. Was the original figure this goofy looking? I honestly can't remember. So yeah, Locos hides in the back there. I don't know if this was transformed correctly. Doesn't seem like it was. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. I guess it's fine. It's not fine. This is terrible. This is absolutely useless. This is barely a transformer. And I was very excited about it, and it is the worst figure of the lot. Not only in robot mode, but also in monster mode. I mean, I like some of the concessions. I like the fact that he has a monster mode elbow that, you know, is also the ankle tilt. It looks okay. His feet look ridiculous. His proportions are ridiculous. There's this huge amount of empty space here when it didn't need to be like that. What is this supposed to be? Yeah, huge problems with this one. Not worth it all. Not worth it all. Very, very disappointed in this weird figure. Okay. Okay, so let's finish off with the whole reason for this project. Let's take a look at Cyberverse Universe Tarn. Cyberverse Universe Tarn is really just a straight recolor of the original Tarn mold. There have been no changes to him other than the fact that apparently, his translucent plastic that was painted in the original toy is now molded in a straight plastic, a solid plastic. So he's less likely to break, and he comes with the sword that was packed in with his retool bludgeon. IDW Universe Bludgeon, Comic Universe Bludgeon. So yes, he comes with the same, everything is the same from the original Tarn figure with the exception of this blade, which is very nice. It's cast in the same color, purple, as his accents here. All told, I would actually argue that this figure feels a lot more solid than the original Tarn figure. He feels slightly heavier. That might just be because his translucent plastic was cast in actual firm plastic coloring. So that might have added a little bit to his weight. All told, he's very attractive coloration-wise. He's got a very nice maroon color, which unfortunately reminds me of Quake, the most disappointing figure that I have encountered in the last year. I do like the preponderance of purple on him. It serves as a very nice accent for his rather subdued color palette here. He is still cast. These were originally gray and now they're black. This is a much, much, much darker purple color, but it does contrast very nicely with the light purple. His face has the Cyberverse kind of look of glowing energon. But it also just makes him look like he has a smiley face or a mouth. So I don't really care for that as much. Really, he does just remind me of Quake. His coloration does remind me a lot of Quake. It's the maroon does. He doesn't have the gray of Quake, but the brown is definitely of Quake. And this is a much darker blue than the lighter blue of Quake. But basically everything that I said for the original Tarn figure applies here. It looks exactly the same. There really are no mold differences here with this particular figure. I'm really not digging the face. I know what they were going for, but this really just makes him look like the Joker. The Joker. I'm just interested because the packaging for him... Bring the packaging in for a moment. The packaging for him does not make him have that weird smiley face. It's just at the bottom of his chin and coming in at the sides of his faceplate. And even here in the representation image of the figure, it's not as clear and clearly defined and bright red as it is on the toy. So I think that that's kind of maybe a little bit of false advertising. This just looks kind of silly. Not the repaint that I would really want for this particular figure. Aside from that, he looks fine. I mean, bring in the original Tarn, and you can see the striking difference between the two here. Whereas this one was much more of a kind of soft pastel purple, and went along very well with the silver and gold accents from the Alex Milne More Than Meets the Eye art. This one is a lot more, let's just say, brutal in terms of coloration. I don't really think that the coloration is broken up as well. Really typified here on his feet. Here, the gold accent painted strip here really does break up the look of his feet, and here that's entirely absent. So he just kind of has big, blocky feet. His head is a little squished. Let's just pop that up a little bit. But yeah, it's not, this is not my favorite recolor, let's just say, I've ever seen. It's frankly a little disappointing, but at the same time, I mean, how can you get angry at it? It does kind of match what he looked like in Cyberverse, although I do not believe Cyberverse Tarn, first of all, he was missing this arm, and he didn't have the sword. The sword just seemed like an opportunistic cash-in because they had the sword from the bludgeon mold retool, which was done before this set was announced. This is a very good example of, this came out first, a lot of people were like, what the hell is this? We don't know who this character is. Nobody bought it. They retooled it into bludgeon, which was, I guess, the entire purpose entirely, because he has some bludgeon tooling built into the original mold. And then bludgeon Tarn was released, disappeared. Bludgeon was released, disappeared. Then all of a sudden people were saying, oh, well, we'd like this again. And so Hasbro just kind of took the opportunity and said, oh, well, you know, Tarn also appeared in Cyberverse, so let's do a repaint. And so we got this in a Target exclusive multi-pack. It's not a rousing success for me. I think this is just kind of generic in terms of coloration. He doesn't really pop. It's not really a great repaint at all. The face is really bothering me because it just looks like this paint application is misaligned. It looks like it should have gone all the way down to his chin, but they had tampographed it much, much, much higher than it should have been. Although looking at it, it is very clear that this is kind of what they intended, because the space below the line here is painted a different color for his chin. I just can't help looking at it and seeing a smiley face. So we've got Joker Tarn and we've got regular Tarn. like I said, this is not a rousing success. It's not disappointing, it's just not fantastic. Out of all of these four, the figure that I am most disappointed with is Squeezeplay, because he is the most original retool, remold from this entire line. I mean, I'm not actually sure what Cliffjumper was before this was Cliffjumper. I can't imagine that this was an original mold. This had to have been something else. I just don't know what. Tarantulas is as Tarantulas was. It's the exact same figure, just cast in toy-accurate colors. Squeezeplay, I don't even know what this is. I don't know where this came from. I don't know what they retooled in order to make this, so it's kind of difficult. But, I mean, like I said, it is Tarn. He's a good-looking figure. He was a good-looking figure originally. It's kind of angering simply because this is a better feeling use of the mold. He feels heavier. If the translucent plastic pieces were recast in regular plastic, then they're sturdier than they were in the original toy. Not that I really had any problems with the brittleness of the translucent plastic in the original toy, but yeah, he does have colored light piping, but just the same as with the original Tarn. It's so small that unless a light is going directly in there, you're not really going to notice anything. Yeah, so let's transform Tarn. So here we have Cyberverse Universe Tarn in his tank mode. It's okay. It's not fantastic once again, just because the colors make it very difficult for any part of it to really pop. I mean, he is still essentially, he is the same figure, he just has the sword now that came with bludgeon. And you can put the sword here, you can put it up top there. I don't know why you would want to put it up top there, but it's a 5mm peg, so if you wanted to, you could use a weaponizer or armorizer or any of the other associated deluxe or scout class disassembly figures in order to bulk him up. But yeah, not terribly impressed with this either. It looks somehow less impressive than his original toy did as a tank. It's a repaint. What do we really want?
Butterfingers?
It's a repaint. So that is all 4 of the figures that came with this Target exclusive multi-pack. I've got to say that out of them, Tarantulas and Cliffjumper are the most impressive. I mean, Tarantulas because it's just a straight mold and they did a very good job with the transformation of that to begin with. Cliffjumper I'm really impressed with. I'm going to have to look into exactly where this mold came from, because this would have been a great retool for Knockout, I feel, if they didn't make the prime Knockout for the first edition of Legacy. Yeah, the Squeezeplay is really kind of disappointing. There's just so much empty space, and I just don't understand how any of this is supposed to fit together, really. There's just so many glaring issues with it. And, I mean, Tarn is fine. It's just, it's not a good look for him. Color-wise, it's just not a good look for him. And if they were going to do that whole hot Energon line Cyberverse kind of style to him, it should have been all over his body, not just a happy face on his face mask. So that's really it. So here we are at the end, and I have to say that, you know, as multi-packs go, this isn't the worst that I've ever seen, but it also is not the best. For a Tarn Tuesday, this was still very satisfying. I was very happy to open up these. I'm mildly disappointed that Squeezeplay is as Squeezeplay is. I was really looking forward to the character, and now that I actually am transforming him, he's not really all that impressive. I did forget how good the Tarantulas mold was, and I also forgot how much his legs get in the way. This Cliffjumper is an excellent mold. I'm really impressed with it. Easily the most impressed out of any of these figures. Very interesting transformation, smooth, not a lot of parts that come off. It's just an excellent figure. I could care less about Cliffjumper, really from any universe. But Prime Universe especially, because he was only there for like, what, 3 minutes? Total, both alive and undead. So I was not particularly enthusiastic about this particular character being included in the set, but he's my favorite figure of this set. And Cyberverse Tarn is fine, except for his weird Joker smiley face. So, I mean, it is what it is. Thank you very much for joining me for this third Tarn Tuesday. I have been really getting a kick out of it, and I hope that you'll join me next week for our final installment. How do you feel about these figures? I'm going to do some investigation to figure out where they came from in terms of their original molds for Squeezeplay and for Cliffjumper. But I'm really, really impressed with one and completely unimpressed with the other. This was just a pile of nothing. I don't know what it was meant to be, and it is still nothing in either mode, so whatever. But if you've bought this set, what do you think of it? What do you think of these particular figures, too? Did your Tarn have the happy smiley face on it? Let me know in the comments. I've really enjoyed this, so thank you very much for joining me today for this unboxing and review. Still going to be rolling out some content, aside from Tarn. So if you like what I do with Transformers and you like my opinions, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel so you know when the next video drops, and drop me a comment. I love talking Transformers, and I love talking minutia about Transformers, and I love talking about IDW. So if you tick any of those boxes, you send a comment my way, okay? But thank you very much for joining me today on The Shelves Have Eyes. This has been a very fun multi-pack to open, and I'm glad that I finally got the chance to. Sitting on it for quite some time, not because I've been waiting to do this as a video, but more like I've just not really felt the urge to open this particular multi-pack. But I'm very happy that I did, and so I will see you in the next video. I've been Phantom. This has been The Shelves Have Eyes. Have a good day, y'all.
To fight in disguise, Transformers. When the battle is through, only the strong will survive. Told all I want, unknown soldier.